I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
Titans, go!
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. Happy New Year. I know I told y'all I was coming back. I want to make sure you had it. It is episode 89, the return of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. Thank you, everybody, for a lot of love over the past couple months. I was trying to get it more regularly, but again, the holidays happened, a lot of stuff towards the end of the year, dealing with a lot of personal things as well. Y'all already know I've been open about any struggles in which I deal with, whether they be real life, mental illness, finances, all that other bullshit. I mean, I'm dealing with things now, but guess what? I'm learning more to put positive things into the atmosphere and put that positive vibration. And I can hear your bowl and positive vibration in the atmosphere. I'll tell you who our guest is in a moment, but god damn, I want people to be professional. They just figure like, fuck it, it's this nigga. It's not gonna matter. I can just do what I want. Don't do nobody else's shit like this. I feel real disrespected. I digress. But anyway, yeah, so I've been dealing with all that, but I figured I wanted to bring it back weekly on a regular basis. Whether, again, like I said before, whether it's myself, I got a bunch of guests lined up. So we will get this out on Mondays. I think Mondays is the best bet to get this out. This way, anything that comes over the weekend, I can have all that. I was trying to do it originally Friday, but sometimes I get late Friday stuff and all that other shit. All that good stuff. So before I go any further into this, I felt like I could talk shit with the person and about the person I got on today because I've talked shit with them regularly twice a week. Y'all watch it live. You hear it on podcast versions. I'm stuck with this nigga, it feels like. It is my BLERDS N the Hood co-host, the Swaggy eater himself, Mr. Winston A. Marshall, who is still probably on mute and don't realize it yet before I say anything.
No. I'm aware. I could leave if you feel stuck with me, bitch. I can just walk away.
Man, look, I still got to deal with you 2 times a week, nigga, regardless. So, like, I mean,
bitch, I can walk away if that's what you want. If I'm such a burden to you, motherfucker, I can just go.
I can only imagine what you said about me. Anyway, I digress. Happiness, since this is a whole different thing than what we normally do. How's your new year going? How are you feeling? I mean, of course, people know from BLERDS, we know that you caught the package. How are you feeling? Is the real question, honestly.
I'm pretty good, man, and I'll be honest with you. These reports of Deltacron that's been coming out and shit, bro. I'm actually out here in these streets kind of happy I caught it now because I got some
I'm out the way. I done got it.
Bro, because now I'm vaxxed up, boosted up, and got the sickness antibodied up. So you got all of it working to stop this new shit from coming in. It's essentially anytime you've ever watched anything where the hero gets their ass whooped and like, I'm gonna have to learn a new technique or I'm not gonna be able to pull this off, bro. I went and learned the spirit bomb and now I'm fucking ready for this shit, man. I don't know what else to say.
Know, I joke about it and play around saying I'm 41-0 negative test, and I've been fortunate enough to not catch this shit through the whole 103 years now, and it's at a point where I'm like, shit, do I just go ahead and do it like a kid with chicken pox?
No.
You know what I'm saying? You just go ahead and catch it to get it out the way.
Again, with Deltacron being out here, if you were gonna do that shit last week was your opportunity. Not now.
say nigga, you missed that window. If you was gonna do it,
that window gone. You don't want to play with this shit now, bro, because they're saying this Deltacron shit, it has the contagiousness of Omicron and the severity of Delta, nigga. It's literally taking the Flash and taking Hercules and let both these niggas come together and fuck your shit up.
Yeah, it's crazy because, and we'll get to what we're going to talk about real quick, but it's been this whole, because for those who listen to this, we're recording this on January 9th. So we're about officially a little good 2 weeks outside of the new year and the holiday season in general, total, from Christmas to New Year's. And that's what everybody was worried about, the Christmas to New Year's surge of COVID cases on top of it being flu season, cold and flu season. And so, a lot of people are like, oh, once we get towards the end of January, first week of February, we should be good. Theoretically, right? Like now you keep hearing the new variant. theoretically, now you hear these new variants popping in. You're like, oh, we're never getting out this shit. So I was gonna, I wanted to, we joked about it, you having it and Kristen having it, and I've always, I just want to make sure you guys are okay because, like,
I know, I appreciate it. I mean, the truth of the matter is that day one was a fucking nightmare is the wrong word, but it was rough. I've described trying to move was like moving through jello. I had a low grade fever, bad headache, a cough that was coming in, all that kind of stuff. But I have been relatively fine all the subsequent days. It was just my energy levels were super low, and I had a pretty, I had some asthma and some lung complications as a kid. So anytime I get a cold, I almost always get bronchitis, and so I was assuming this was going to be the same thing, and that's kind of what happened. I've been coughing up phlegm and I kind of have a deep cough the last few days, but every day has been less. I have been on the mend, so like I'm actually okay out here right now, and
good.
I'm glad that it's out of the way, because obviously not a lot of people had that experience when they caught COVID. But I chalk it up 1,000% to being vaccinated, man. Like I have no doubt in my mind, knowing my complications with my lungs and everything, that this shit would have rocked the fuck out of me if I did not have something in my system to help me fight this bitch.
I'm just saying, you know what? Honestly, I've been diagnosed as asthmatic since I was about 2 or 3. One of the big things they say, you can outgrow it. Depends on how you train and take care, not train, just more so take care of yourself and, do the things to build up your lungs. And so, but any type of respiratory thing, even though I feel like I've outgrown it, I get nervous as shit still. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the same thing. But I digress, man. Let's get into it. Y'all have missed this for a couple of months, and I'm glad you're doing it with somebody. Like I said, I couldn't pick a better person to bring it back with. For those who are new to the Mad Titan, this is what it is. I get you caught up in the world of all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. All right. This is barbershop talk for nerds. So what does that mean? We're going to keep shit a buck. All right. We're going to keep it real. You might get in your feelings, then you listen to the wrong shit. There's no other way but to be straightforward with a lot of things, and I feel like we can do it that way. I've been doing it that way due to the associations and friends, and some feel like family that I've met that work in these different productions and companies, and not trying to utilize that to just be like, hey, put me in some shit. Just being honest, and people respect that as long as you're not just being blatantly disrespectful. So I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we always kick it off with Marvel. So there's not a lot of news. There's different shit. Of course, there's a lot of, concept art and pics and all these behind the scenes shit. We're not going to talk about a lot of it. We'll talk about a couple things that have come up that I definitely want to talk about. So I have an issue with a lot of fans doing this shit on Twitter. And I understand the love behind it, but I hate the rationale that follows it. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started trending on Twitter as fans demand Marvel Studios hashtag save Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, we know it wrapped up about a year ago. What is that? Is that a dog?
Dog.
Oh, that's an outside dog. Wow.
Wow, that's a loud ass dog.
Yeah, I thought it was like something on the screen.
Here we go. The window is slightly cracked. Hold
on. Okay, no worries. But again, we're live. That's how we do shit. So again, it's been about a year since they did this season 7 wrap up of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's officially come to a close. We all know Marvel Television has gone through that transition where it is now done. You got the last few properties that were set to come out as far as Hitmonkey, which is on Hulu, MODOK. Both of them are amazing. I highly recommend you check them out. And of course, we've gotten the somewhat crossover of the Marvel Television things from Netflix, with now Charlie Cox being introduced in Spider-Man No Way Home, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and Hawkeye. But again, this demanding studio shit, I'm going to go later to the whole restore the Snyderverse bullshit too, because I'm not going to pull punches on either end. I feel like fans are... There's a level of showing your fandom, right? And your respect and appreciation and missing something. But when you start trying to demand and bogarting, social media posts that these studios are making with only your hashtag, I think that is more problematic than anything.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. one specifically. If you read the article you pulled, which is a solid point, not a lot of shows get to do 7 fucking seasons. That's a rarity. And not only did they get to do it, the showrunners felt like they left it in a good place. They got to say all the things they wanted to say. They got to do the finale they wanted to do. So there's no saving to be done. You know what I'm saying? It would be like if someone was like, I'm good, I don't want to do this anymore, and you're trying to force them to come back. If they want to come back, if they were like, got more story to tell, it's kind of like Lucifer just ended this year. Right. They don't, nothing else that it was a nice ending to wrap everything up. There's nothing else that the people, the cast, the crew, the writers want to tell about the story. So why are you trying to clamor for that?
I think that's the thing too for me, not just the showrunners, it's the cast. Because we see save Luke Cage, save Jessica Jones, save Iron Fist, save Daredevil. Yeah. Now, granted, in some instances, some of these, actors may have no issue with going back to that role because the role is lucrative for its reach and financially, potentially, especially if we're talking the role in the Marvel Studios now. But also their career I'm not saying this isn't with any case with any actor, make sure I disclaim that shit. Their career may be stagnant at the moment. Their highlight was doing this thing and it kept them busy, and now they're not doing anything. So yeah, in those situations I understand. But people acting as if if we get this 100,000 tweets and we get it trending, this means the studio has to listen to us. Like, I feel like people got to understand, your voice on Twitter you may think it's loud all the time. It's not. It's not. And it goes again, this, like I said, I'm going both sides of the coin for y'all. So just so you fucking understand, it's like that restore the Snyderverse bullshit. Everybody kept thinking because it was trending, it was making all this noise, et cetera, but it didn't move the needle the way HBO Max needed their needle to move. They don't give a fuck about it trending. They don't give a fuck about how much y'all talk about it.
It's not just that. I mean, we're going to get to another story later about the Snyderverse and essentially how everything kind of played out. You also have to have a desire from the people that are making it to continue to make it. So it sounds like
the thing. Yep.
So maybe Snyder does, but we're talking about how Affleck has very famously been like, I intentionally was like, I'm done with this shit.
Right. But let's stay with Marvel real quick because we're going to get in depth with that. But let's stay with Marvel and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because again, Kevin Feige has said a couple people may come. So, okay, Chloe Bennett as Quake and Ming-Na Wen as Melinda May potentially. And yes, Clark Gregg as Coulson. But that doesn't mean you get a whole new fucking series.
No, and I don't think that we need to retread that. Honestly, I think I need to watch that last season. But again, it sounds like they found a way to like wrap it all up and kind of move on. And so it's one of those that I would love to see Quake specifically, but all three of them. I would love to see Quake become a greater part of the MCU, especially as we start to get the whole sword stuff. So you're going to get Fury back and oh God, why did Maria Hill back and all that kind of stuff? I would love to see her directly interact with Fury because it's not something that we really got much of, at least not in her iteration as Quake. She was just Daisy at the time. So yeah, that would be cool. But that's the thing. I understand people's love for that stuff. I'm here for people kind of speaking out and saying what they want to, but let's just be honest. This came to a proper conclusion. So there's no need to resurrect something that is totally fine being out.
But here's the thing too, even if it didn't have its quote unquote proper conclusion, let's just be honest. TV shows don't get a proper conclusion all the fucking time.
Of course. But see, that's the thing. I do not have a problem with people speaking up about things that they want. I genuinely don't have a problem with this movement. What I have a problem with is A, if the people making it don't want to do it, and B, if you're going to be a piece of shit about it. I think that, to be honest with you, the reason, no one has been hostile, unless you've seen some stuff, about Save Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, not because it's not that big of a deal.
Right. But there were people that were actually hostile about the Restore the Snyderverse, about the Snyder Cut shit, about all that. And that's different. So the same thing happened with Lucifer. Lucifer got canceled and there was an entire campaign of the Save Lucifer, all that kind of stuff. And then they got 2-3 really great seasons on Netflix and were able to wrap it up how they wanted to. So I don't have a problem with people doing this at all. I think it's all about people moving the needle as best they can. It just depends on, is it worth it to the people that are creating it, if they're even going to do it. It was worth it, like you said, for HBO Max. They were trying to drive up some subscription numbers, and they feel like they could have banked off of that. There's nothing that behooves Warner and HBO Max and all that to continue to do this, because it only did so much. You know what I'm saying?
You mean Marvel Studios?
No.
We're talking.
I know we're talking Marvel. I'm thinking about just examples of this. But in this case, it doesn't do anything for Marvel to revive Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the show came to a proper conclusion. You might save the characters, but the show finished.
Right. So let's move on. We'll talk a little bit more about, like we said, we'll talk about the whole Snyderverse when we get to the DC part. That's why I wanted to save that conversation for that. Bill Murray is in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right? And he himself has confirmed that he is a villain. Now, he did an interview, and around the 4-minute mark in his interview, he was asked, what superpowers does he have in Peyton Reed's upcoming threequel? And he only responded by saying, my power is I'm a bad guy, and laughed. So the rumor is that Murray has been cast as the little-known character from Incredible Hulk 156 known as Kryler. Now, in that issue, there's the Hulk goes into the microverse, and Kryler is revealed as a subservient scientist to his planet's desperate ruler. Now, he has a machine capable of generating the physical embodiment of someone's greatest fear. Well, he kept the Hulk at bay with an out-of-control green Goliath that terrified Bruce Banner. So there's a potential. Again, we know that this is going to go heavily into the quantum verse for sure for this. And I think in the microverse, we're also getting Jonathan Majors officially as Kang. And I'm of the belief this is going to introduce the Fantastic Four. But having what we've gotten from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and now going in this threequel, having Bill Murray, Jonathan Majors, what are your thoughts going forward?
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty packed cast, like a slew of A-listers, which is pretty crazy, man. And, I have so much respect for Bill Murray, obviously as a comedic actor, but just as like a tour de force, period. I mean, when he decides to do something serious, it is quite phenomenal. Lost in Translation being one of my favorite films, and things like that. So I am excited for it, man. I always get a little nervous just because he's getting up there. And so, how much can he still bring to the table? Just because the older you get, you can't be quite as physical. I think about The Irishman and how, their acting was there, but you can't de-age fucking knees, bro. and so it's one of those.
You can't de-age knees. Hey, y'all hear that? Nigga, let me tell you something. I did a self-tape a couple of days ago. And again, just me doing it was a basic self-tape. Nigga, my knees were cracking and popping while I was doing the self-tape, right? I was like, okay, because I was like, why the fuck are my knees cracking like this? And it's like, it's just a natural thing that can happen. You get a lot of carbon dioxide in your system. So I was like, okay, I might chalk it up. Here's the problem. I was editing the video, heard my shit sounded like bubble wrap through the microphone. Was like, well, guess we just go send this off with these knees. Go send this shit off with these knees. I was like, damn. I'm excited. I think it's so dope, and I've said this many times before in previous episodes. I think this shit is so dope that A-list actors are coming to Marvel Studios. And it's not, in many cases, the other way around, where Marvel Studios is going to these A-list actors. Like, these dudes like, yo, somebody give me Kevin Feige's number. And Kevin Feige picking up the phone like, so, hold on, I'm going to go ahead and call the director. Which one you want to work with? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just filling them in where they go, man. I'll admit, the first Ant-Man, I like it. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how the Scott Lang thing was going to play out. Paul Rudd turns out to be fucking hilarious in it. Evangeline Lilly turns out to be a badass going into both movies. Then you get Michelle Pfeiffer, and I'm like, okay, here we are, bro. So like this third one again, Bill Murray and Jonathan Majors, who, when you say a tour de force, of acting. This dude is shown he's that.
I mean, he already showed it in Loki, man. He kind of gave you a taste of what he's bringing to the table. I mean, anybody that's seen him act, period, but like you specifically what he's going to bring to the MCU. So this is going to be a wild film. I honestly believe. I'll be real. As excited as I was for No Way Home and it delivered, as excited as I am for Multiverse of Madness, I think I'm more excited for Quantumania just because of the real implications it's going to have.
Okay,
I think that we're going to,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And even though I didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp as much as I liked Ant-Man, it is so far one of the properties. Like I think that Peyton Reed has done a really good job. I think obviously so has this entire cast. So I get I'm a little more excited for this, but especially to see further what is this whole Kang shit going to be, because that's the thing everybody's talking about, that Kang will be the Thanos of this particular sector.
That I don't think he is.
That's the thing, that because of his variance and all that, and because it's one of those situations where how many times does Kang get defeated only for Kang to be the real one behind it? He's like, I needed you to defeat that version of me, so now this version of me can fuck your shit up. So like, I honestly believe
we get a Mortis, it's a wrap, nigga. We get a Mortis, it's a wrap.
right. So I honestly believe that we got a taste of Jonathan. This is going to be his real introduction in Quantumania, but I honestly believe he is the big bad we're dealing with going forward.
I honestly, I stood on this and I stand by it. I don't want a cosmic figure as the big bad again, because we have so many available. I get it. But if every big bad we're facing is a cosmic villain, it kind of, it's going. I mean, granted, they all build up. I will say that this isn't one of those. Well, like the Flash, you just give us all the shit in the way. Everything builds up. I would love, again, let Fantastic Four be introduced in this, and the next big bad guy is Doom.
Well, and that's the thing, though. I could totally see a situation where, because there is the talk with Kang that he related to Reed? Is he related to Victor? It gets really muddled because it's been retconned and re-explored multiple times, and we don't quite know which of the two is he actually related to, if at all. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that being said, I could totally see a situation where, now that Kang's here and he's like meddling and shit, we get introduced to the Fantastic Four, that Doom comes along and Doom pulls some I stole the Beyonder's power shit, where he's like, well, I just stole all Kang's tech now, so now I'm the one running around with the fucking like time variations and shit.
And that's the thing, because I me and everybody else who's watched these fucking movies, well, we want is a proper Dr. Doom, nigga. Like, I give Julian McMahon credit for what he did in those two Fantastic Four movies, but it was just when they made Doom have his body becoming metal, I was like, come on, y'all didn't need to do that, right? And granted, at the time, the larger MCU and magic wasn't introduced. Mm-hmm. But then you got Fan Four Stick, and you was like, somebody's 8-year-old just drew what they thought Dr. Doom should look like, and they ran with that shit. But now we have introduced magic. We have technological geniuses in this world. Victor Von Doom is a meld of both. And it's like, who do you have play? Again, we play this game of who do you cast in these roles? Who do you fantasy cast? And I think we're at the point now where you can't fantasy cast anymore, because Marvel will pick a person that'll make you be like, no, and then you watch it, you'll be like, damn, okay. You know what I'm saying? They'll change your whole mind on that.
He's a little small, but if you're talking about just full acting tour de force, it's small and a little bit old, but if you're acting tour de force, I'm still pulling for Juan Carlo, bro. I think that he would do a phenomenal job with it, because of that kind of like sinister, don't fuck with me nature. It like nothing reads more of Victor in this regard from something we've seen out of his career than fucking Gus Fring, dude. He would come in, he would fucking destroy that shit. No, that's all good. That's all I'm saying.
I was thinking, even what he does in The Boys, even who he is in The Boys, because you're gonna look at that level of sinister mindset. So I'm agreeing with you on both of those. Again, I apologize, interrupted. We talked about him earlier about how Marvel's Television's Kingpin is now officially in the MCU, and we got that introduced in Hawkeye. And so when we saw Kingpin in Hawkeye, of course, that mod had clearly gone some strength upgrades, because mainly everybody was like, yo, this dude took an arrow to the chest and shrugged it off and got hit by a car in a massive explosion. And so a lot of people were like, what the hell is going on with that? Well, this is what Vincent D'Onofrio said, quote, you know, I learned recently a couple of the fans, they were very excited about it. They were commenting about the strength that I have because I'm throwing Kate around and stuff. But I totally forgot. I just saw a clip on Twitter of me and Charlie Cox fighting in Daredevil's first season. Obviously, he's an incredible director. He helped develop the character Wilson Fisk. He said, there's a scene we shot on an alley in a street in Brooklyn where I'm literally throwing Daredevil through the air like I'm picking him up and swinging him 15 feet into a garbage can. I do it a few times in that fight. It's no different. It's really not. He said, so I keep saying that it's the same fix that it was in Daredevil. It's the same canon, but people get confused about things. I understand. I don't know why people don't realize Wilson Fisk has always been shown. Everybody thought he was a mutant. It's just his muscle levels are that dense and strong. Also, not just what he did to Daredevil. I just rewatched all of Daredevil, all 3 seasons, right? Do you remember how he paralyzed fucking Bullseye and threw the nigga?
No, I didn't. I never saw the 3rd season.
Bro, he picks up Bullseye, throws this nigga into a brick wall. This nigga's laying on the ground like, I can't move. I can't move. Like, Wilson Fisk has always been super strong.
But that's the thing that's weird to me. For people to make that comment, I'm like, so do you actually follow the Kingpin? Because I know from the outside, like every time you see him for the first time, you're just like, this is a mob boss. Why is everybody so afraid of him? But he is a mob boss. Like, he's kind of ruthless until he has to get his hands dirty. And then he starts beating the brakes off of people. He has beat the shit out of Daredevil. He has beat the shit out of Spider-Man. Like, bro, not only does he take these punches to the face, he beats the shit out of them. So, like, I don't understand people getting upset about that. Then do your goddamn homework. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The thing. People don't really do research in characters, bro. Like the whole shit with remember with the trailer with Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange with the wink, which isn't in the movie, by the way. Everybody was like, see, he Mephisto. Only Mephisto would do some shit he wasn't told to do. And I'm like, yo, did y'all not see the first Doctor Strange movie? The whole movie is this nigga doing shit he was told not to do.
No, I get the wink for me was less about the doing shit he wouldn't do. It was more about it seemed out of character. He's not like once he kind of became, because he was arrogant as shit before he became like the master of the mystic arts. But then after that, less arrogant, more on the wise side. Not that he wouldn't do shit that he felt like that if he just wanted to do it, he would do that shit. But he was never tongue in cheek with Peter, like, hey man, I got you, bro. So there was something about that, like, what fuckboyery is this? This feels like somebody in disguise.
What fuckboyery? Did we just coin a new term here on the podcast? Fuckboyery? Like
have you never heard that before? Have you never heard that before?
I've never heard the term fuckboyery.
Oh, I've used it before, but I it's one of those things where, again, I'm not knocking Strange doing what Strange wants to do. That's not what I'm saying. It's just it was uncharacteristic of him to be so like, gotcha, buddy. Like that's like a Tony thing. You know what I'm saying? That Tony might throw you a wink or some stupid shit. Not really Steven. So that's where I was like, maybe this is evil Steven, maybe this is Mephisto, maybe it's whoever. But I digress. We go back to Vincent D'Onofrio. I just wish that people would not get so fucking up in arms about shit unless there's a reason to do so. I'm sure you heard that they're changing the power set of Ms. Marvel, where it's not her being able to embiggen. It's almost like a light construct, kind of like a mystical construct, similar to like being a lantern. She just uses her powers the same way
as she would her
Ms.
body.
Marvel. Exactly. I don't love that personally, just because there was a lot of things tied to her character, with the fact that she feels like it's essentially dealing with puberty all over again to like the extreme and just feeling really awkward in her body. You're going to lose potentially a lot of that if it's just like I create mystical constructs. You know what I'm saying? Like I make a mystical giant. That's very different than like she freaks out and like her arm just all of a sudden she like a la Elastigirl, or Elastigirl, excuse me, from Doom Patrol, where Rita's just like, get it together, bitch, get it together. Like, so I don't love that, but I'm going to hold my breath and wait and see. The MCU hasn't fully shit the bed on anything. There've been some bad stuff, but they've never fully just blown it. So let's just see what happens.
That's the thing too when it comes to Miss Marvel. I'm like, I agree with you with certain things, but I'm like, they're going to give us a reasoning as to why they don't do the stretch, and it is it's the essence, the aura, the energy.
The two things that I've heard are both since they are introducing the Fantastic Four, to give her some sort of like distance from Reed Richards,
which makes sense.
It makes sense, but they use their power so differently, man. I feel like that's a cop out. But the second one is, yes, they are obviously giving them as much money as they kind of want to do for the shows. Since her main focus is on the shows, you're maybe trying to keep down the budget. It's a lot easier to do the light constructs than to constantly full CGI warp a body. You know what I'm saying? It's a little less expensive to deal with that. So
we don't know, because I think we're getting her before we get we get the Marvels. So
we were supposed to, yeah.
So right, we're just getting tentatively we're getting her before we get the Marvels. So who's to say her powers don't evolve by the time it comes around for the Marvels? You see what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
I get what you're saying. I get what everybody else is like, yo. But again, when it comes back to Kingpin, do your homework on the man. You know what I'm saying?
Like, if you just want, you could either go watch the Spider-Man animated series, or if you want something more recent that everybody's always talking about, just go watch this Into the Spider-Verse, bro. Tell me he was not sitting here beating the ever-loving shit out of Peter Parker, and then beating the ever-loving shit out of Miles, and Miles had to go into that little extra part that happens in fights where he's like, I just gotta do it, la 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 la. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
say that again.
I just gotta do it, la 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 la.
I don't have any. There's a part in Daredevil. There's several parts in Daredevil. Did you see you saw the first season in Daredevil, right?
Yeah, I saw the first.
Remember when that nigga Wilson Fisk put dude's head in the car door?
And just bop, bop, bop. So my only problem with that, this is where I was thinking they weren't doing enough by his strength. Kingpin is so goddamn strong, the nigga's head would have popped off after one bop. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing.
Listen, we kind of keep it a little grounded. There's a part of season 3. So Fisk got control.
I'm gonna watch it eventually. You don't need to tell me. It's fine, unless you really want to tell this story.
I gotta tell this story. Because Fisk got control of the FBI, right? And they have him supposed to be doing something, they don't do it. So the dude he in the car with, Wilson Fisk is in the backseat with him. He says, give me your jacket. And dude's like, huh? He was like, just give me your jacket. Dude, take off his jacket and give it to Fisk. Fisk put his jacket over this nigga's head and just start punching this nigga's face out. Through his jacket. I was like, God damn. That motherfucker just lit. It wasn't that nigga body just flail anyways. Oh, shit. I just had to get that out of my system. Oh, that is... Speaking of Daredevil and whatnot, let me bring this story real quick. They say that Echo, which is coming to Disney Plus, is a spinoff of Hawkeye. They are bringing in the writers from both Daredevil and The Punisher. Now, this was reported by the Illuminati. They say that Ken Christensen and Dara Renzick have joined the room actively developing Echo. Now, Christensen wrote for The Punisher during both of his seasons, and Resnick was on the staff of Daredevil's 3rd season that I've been talking about. Now, nothing currently has been mentioned about the plot or supporting cast of Echo, other than the fact that Alaka Cox is returning in the titular role. What did you think of her as Echo?
I thought she did a great job. I honestly don't know the character. I had to do some research as she was coming on and everybody was talking about her. And people were being like, well, this means the Kingpin's coming. And I was like, all right, I mean, I guess if that happens. And then, of course, he did. But I thought that she was just phenomenal. I thought that the part that was touching to me is looking at some of her interviews and her talking about, being on set, being a deaf actress herself, and this being her very first major acting gig. Mm. Her being the fact that Jeremy and Haley both introduced themselves in ASL as like a means to really like tell her how good she is, and they're excited to work with her and all that stuff. And I was like, that's impressive, man. I think having Echo be a show like this, I gotta give props to to Marvel Studios, to Disney, for continuing to show that representation. I'm sure you saw the story of the little boy that thought he was in Encanto, and him losing his shit when he was like, "Mommy, I can talk to animals, like it's me." Like,
I haven't heard about that.
So it's the same thing here. I saw Coda for last night, and it, for me, honestly, after seeing that, was probably my top movie of 2021. Obviously, I saw it in 2022, but it came out last year. Same thing. Like, this representation matters, and you can tell such meaningful, powerful stories. So I'm excited to see where they go with it, and I can't think of a better thing to do if the Kingpin is kind of at the center of Echo. Why not bring in the two writing teams that help develop this character in the modern age? So this sounds great.
Well, the Punisher writers didn't really, because
sure. I get it. I mean, Kingpin wasn't really around for the Punisher.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. He was only involved when the Punisher was introduced in season 2.
Right.
Of Daredevil.
Right.
So that's that.
But you're talking about, you're bringing in as much of that Netflix world into this fold to just continue to merge the two worlds together. I think that's really smart.
Cool. I'm excited for it. I'm excited, man. And here's my last bit of Marvel news. So we know that Riri Williams, Dominique Thorne, who is playing her, aka Ironheart, will be making her debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But now there maybe it's rumors going around, and it may be proven that we know who Ironheart's main villain is in her Disney Plus series, because she's getting that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is being reported that either the son or daughter of Obadiah Stane, who was played by Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1, is going to make their MCU debut. And the character is being described as being in their 40s, brilliant, and comedic. And it's most likely going to be a version of the Ironmonger's son, Zeke Stane, from the comic books. But based on that reports that they have, he's going to possibly be gender switched. And of course, Stane will have no reason to seek vengeance for his father's death. But with Riri taking over the mantle as the Armored Avenger, it could bring up old feelings. So for you hearing this, are you A, first and foremost, excited for Ironheart and her own series, and B, the possibility of going back even again to the beginning, because Spider-Man Far From Home kind of went back to the beginning, but now doing it again in Ironheart?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this will be a lot of fun. I think it'll be, something great to see. We've seen obviously a number of powerful women in the MCU, and we've seen a number of powerful Black women. Obviously, the Dora Milaje, Shuri, Nakia. We've seen Valkyrie. But we haven't had a moment yet for a Black woman to take center stage in the MCU, not to be like a supporting character, but to be the character. So Riri as a character period is just so intriguing, because as brilliant as she is, the fact that at such a young age, she's able to reverse engineer the Iron Man suit and become the, her own superhero. I'm super here for it, man. I really, really am.
I'm excited to see it. Seeing Dominique Thorne in Judas and the Black Messiah already had amped me up for her portrayal of Riri, because I like to know you went this serious in this role. Now you got to bring it back and get some lighthearted sensibilities, if that makes sense. You and I are actors, so you and I understand, like, one moment as a character, we're playing this intense ass role, but then we flip back around and it's comedic and lighthearted and something completely different, and we have to change complete gears.
Yeah, 1,000%, man.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just agreeing with you. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and that's something I can't wait to see. So, I mean, hearing that again, we don't know right now when Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is set to come out November of this year. The movie is going to stay the same. as of right now. The only thing that may change, and again, this has been real rumor and speculation because it's super easy to make rumor and speculation that Letitia Wright is either going to be her last film or whatever. But again, it's easy to make that speculation because of one video posted. I mean, because of one retweet, literally, and her response. That's what all this is from. Now, again, if she has her beliefs on that, whatever the case may be, that's between her, Kevin Feige, Ryan Coogler, and how they handle all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is literally from one retweet of one video and one response.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that the rumor that's more interesting to me is there's talks because Riri is being introduced in Wakanda Forever that maybe she's Wakandan, that they might retcon her for that. I wouldn't necessarily hate that. There's a part of me though that I kind of like the idea of just like a black woman here in America that didn't have all of the assets of Wakanda, just happens to be brilliant on her own. But I'm here for it. I mean, obviously, I'm y'all can't see his audio. I'm wearing my Wakanda jersey right now, so like obviously I fucks with Wakanda. But I don't know. There's just something pretty cool about some girl in the just in the hood, just smart as shit, gets in MIT. It's super fucking young and figures out Iron Man's armor.
Oh man, I fuck around, let my Google Voice number for the damn fucking podcast hotline expire. Let me see if I can get it back. We're gonna see if I didn't realize I'm opening up the fucking thing I was like, oh shit. Damn, I had a whole bunch of messages from y'all and I get a number. All right, we'll get a voice number. We'll do all that later. But yeah, that's crazy. I'm mad that I'm mad that I let that happen. Oh, I can get it again. Cool. I got it. Same number. Cool. Perfect. That is so fucked up.
Wow.
What did I have to do that?
What a journey we just went on with you.
All right.
As you try to get your number back.
Because what it was, I was going while you're talking. I'm like, all right, I need to make sure I have the number and everything for the hotline. And so, like I was saying, I was going through the emails and I was like, oh, okay, because I need to get the emails in case people want to email. And I'm looking and one of the emails was like, yeah, your voice number is expired. I was like, God damn it. And so I had to redo the number. So nonetheless, again, we do this shit real raw. This is how it gets it. Anyway, let's move on to the DC side of things. So the Batman is happening pretty soon. First of all, have you seen the looks that just came out today of both the Penguin and the Riddler?
No.
Tweet it, go on Twitter and search it real quick. Well, I'll tell you about it. So, of course, everybody is saying, first of all, Matt Reeves, who's the director of the Batman, has said this is going to be a dark, gritty take on the Batman, quote unquote, that it hasn't been done. And then people had to fucking remind him, bro, the Nolan movies exist. The Nolan movies exist, but this people are saying now this appears to be every bit of a reinvention of the character. But now we have a look at Colin Farrell's Penguin, which I'll admit, if you did not tell me that was Colin Farrell, I would not have known him as Oswald Cobblepot. But the Riddler, I got a slight issue with.
Really?
The Riddler has a Zodiac killer type look.
Yeah.
And I joked on Twitter and said, this looks like a what-if version of the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
That's Colin Farrell?
That's Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Wow, they did a really good job. I can't tell. I don't see Colin Farrell in there at all.
No, Paul Dano's and his character is Edward Nashton, not Edward Nygma in this one. But yeah, Colin Farrell's Penguin is amazing because you don't know that's him.
Yeah.
So like, again, remember how years ago Suicide Squad won the Academy Award for hair and makeup because of Killer Croc? Mm-hmm. With the level of transformation that we see of Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I could see them being nominated for that and possibly get it. Because that's a transformation to the point where you're like, wait, that's who? And no one believes it. So, but your thoughts on the Riddler?
I mean, I actually really like it. We're getting something completely new. I mean, look at the Batmobile that we're getting. Look at how this world is being portrayed, period. It seems to fit based off of the design that they're going with. And there is something to be said about the Riddler. The more you look at him as a character, he does have a Zodiac killer vibe to him. He always has. It's just that they've made him so goddamn cartoonish every time you've seen him. The only exceptions have been like, the animated version of Hush. You know what I'm saying, and like things like that. That you have seen other versions of the Riddler in that regard. So I'm excited to get what a more grounded version of the Riddler would look like, because the only other ones we've gotten are Batman 66, cartoon than a motherfucker, and then Jim Carrey, hella cartoon than a motherfucker.
Boy, that was a cartoonish version.
Other than being white, the coon part is what I kind of focused on when you said that cartoon. Like it sounded like you were just trying to mush that together, bro.
It was a cartoon coon. Okay, it was a cartoon coon. But also, speaking of the Batman, so Barry Keoghan, he was in Eternals. He played not Makari. He is the fuck was the other Eternal he played? He was the one that was in love with Makari, right? He's in the Eternals. It is possible he is set to be playing the Joker in Matt Reeves' Batman. Now, I don't know why we need to jump to the Joker always. I feel like there's certain things in comic book lore and comic book worlds when we keep trying to bring it to the screen that we need to stop trying to rush. The Joker, the Phoenix for X-Men, certain things just stop. Like, let them thoughts.
I think if you're gonna do Gotham, you need to have the Joker in there. But I also am of the mindset like he doesn't necessarily because think about how many stories we've watched or read of Batman where the Joker is almost always involved in one form or fashion. The same way that Superman could be out here in these streets fighting Darkseid, and yet somehow Lex Luthor is involved. It's just kind of like it's just a thing.
So this nigga getting an Omega beam to the face, but here go Luthor. Hey man,
yo. Literally, Omega beams to the face, and then Luthor comes over and be like, Superman. You bitch. Darkseid don't like money, but I found a way for him to give a shit about money, my nigga. So you get this.
Hey, told the nigga Darkseid, hey bro, I know you don't care about money. However, I know you don't. I know there's certain things that humans have you don't give a fuck about, right? Hear me out. Look over to your right. What is that? These are what we like to call the bitches. So listen, if you whoop Superman, you can have the bitches. What do I want with the bitches for? Bitches, show them. And then they start doing shit freaky in the dark side. They start doing wild freaky shit in the dark side. Why is she under my skirt? Well, first of all, you shouldn't be wearing a skirt.
Come on, man. And you leave where it comes over here and whoops your ass.
Darkseid has a giant. That nigga is his thick thighs in a skirt, nigga. That nigga.
You better hush up before Darkseid fucking pulls his skirt up and he does what he needs to do to your ass. You look, man.
Darkseid
will lift that kilt
with some boy shorts, nigga.
Darkseid will lift that kilt up and he'll make you wish that you got trapped in what is Granny Goodness's fucking thing, the X pit. You gonna wish your ass was in the X pit, my nigga, instead of fucking with Darkseid.
Nigga, stop it. So now let's go into my last story, and we've been talking about it earlier, and I wanted to save this for last that I have for DC News because this ties into the initial story we talking about of fandoms and different things. But this is kind of different, but it will add to it in some way. So Ben Affleck has said that his Justice League experience was awful, and it ultimately led to him deciding to step away from playing the Batman altogether. This is what he told the LA Times. I want you to hear this real quick. Now, this is when he was doing the rounds promoting the Tender Bar, which is available on Amazon. He said, quote, "It was really Justice League that was in the deer for me. That was a bad experience because of a confluence of things. My own life, my divorce, being away too much, the complete agendas, and then Zach's personal tragedy and the reshooting. It was just the worst experience. It was awful. It was everything that I didn't like about this. The moment that became the moment where I said, quote, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not even about like Justice League was so bad, because it could have been anything. Now, he was set to direct the Batman. He stepped away. He had his own script done and everything. He went on further to say, I looked at it and thought, I'm not going to be happy doing this. The person who does this should love it. You're supposed to want these things. And I probably would have loved doing it at 32 or something. But it was the point where I started to realize it's not worth it. It's just a wonderful benefit of reorienting and recalibrating your priorities, that once it started being more about the experience, I felt more at ease. I bring up fandoms because people didn't read this fucking article. People just saw that and automatically assumed he meant Joss Whedon and Justice League, and that meant he wanted to do the Batman. They didn't hear that this man says, I was going through shit. Like the divorce. We saw Ben Affleck get bulky as fuck to play Bruce Wayne. But then as you start seeing through the reshoots, we saw Ben Affleck was putting on weight. I think I bring up this with fandoms, and it's Restore the Snyderverse. And it's like we both said earlier, the actors have to want to come back. Mm-hmm. You are not getting Ben Affleck back. He's already stated that The Flash, when you see him in Flashpoint, is the final time you will see him as Batman. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Which is a shame, but at the same time, man, you got to understand the weight it carries for playing a role like that. And not just that, the amount of working out you would have to do. And what Ben Affleck is pushing 50, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he's 50. He's 50.
Oh, he is 50. Dude, nobody at 50, like that. There's a reason why Drax is coming to an end, because my boy Batista's like, nigga, I'm almost 60 years old. I don't want to do this anymore.
People don't think about that. They like, this nigga is old. This nigga's in great shape, but this nigga's old.
But see, that's the other thing. It's that knowing Batista, he'll never get out of bad shape, but he doesn't necessarily want to have to keep peak WWE /superhero shape. He might just want to be like, good being strong, but I don't need to be cut no more. And that's the day comes for everybody. There will be a day that Hemsworth doesn't want to bulk up for Thor anymore. There will be a day that, anybody doing this shit, like Hugh Jackman, after all the great years he gave us as Wolverine, was like, I don't want to just eat broccoli and fucking chicken, nigga. How am I going to have millions upon millions of dollars and I can't go to none of these nice-ass restaurants because I'm going to have to show up and be like, yeah, can I get a piece of lettuce and a water? Like, who the fuck is
Why'd you do that? A piece of lettuce and a water?
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I do not blame Ben going through a tumultuous divorce, doing other roles that he genuinely loves to do, has made all the money he wants to make, and can say, I have been Batman, that he's like, I'm good, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason, it's not necessarily that people have been calling Christian Bale to ask him to come back, but I'm sure he felt the same way, where he was like, I was good with the 3, I don't need to do this no more. You know
he's also said that he would come back. The only way he would come back is Nolan has to be involved. It's the only way. It's kind of like Tobey Maguire saying the only way he would come back as Spider-Man is if Sam Raimi was involved.
Did he say that?
Yeah, that was the only reason. Sam Raimi, I don't know if you heard, Sam Raimi actually directed all of the scenes that Tobey Maguire is involved in with No Way Home. Because that was the only way you were getting Tobey Maguire back.
Interesting.
So So Bale said he'd only come back for Nolan. But again, I agree. You hit a certain point, you're like, I've done it. I don't need to do this shit. It's the fact of the fandoms. Now we know that the merger is supposed to be happening with Warner Brothers and Discovery. And everybody every time Discovery posts something, if you see this Restore the Snyderverse, motherfuckers is not coming back for that. And
they don't want to. They that's the thing. They don't want to.
They don't want to.
Yeah. So unless you're telling me that you want it with a bunch of different actors, they just simply do not have a desire to do it. They've made it very clear. Like, they're interested in some of the other property. Like, obviously, Momoa is doing the new Aquaman that comes out this year. Gal is still associated with the next Wonder Woman movie that's coming along. And Cavill has kind of bounced back and forth about whether or not he wants to play Superman or not. But, like, Ben Affleck don't want this no more, bro. He's done, and so let him be done.
Cavill is comfortable. Cavill is hella comfortable being in The Witcher. That's one of his favorite games, his favorite thing. He loves it. And for those who don't remember, I've said it numerous times here on the podcast. The reason Cavill left was because they would not give him and Danny Garcia, his manager, they would not give them creative control of Superman. He did not like how Zack Snyder did Superman. And so why would you want to come back again? Yeah, he put, everybody's like, well, he pushed the Snyder Cut shit. And it's like, whatever. It's like, whatever. But people have to understand that you can't force a studio hand. Am I just frozen in the video and you can still hear me perfectly audio?
I can hear you. You're moving fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I didn't see myself moving. It's, you can keep saying, look, the studio don't want to do it. The new owners, here's another thing I keep telling people, and I've never asked your thoughts on this. Do people not understand that no studio, no executives, no one wants to deal with the barrage of random ass people finding their emails, sending dumbass emails, threatening and harassing them about why they should do a superhero movie again?
Not really. I mean, I think that's the problem, is that people think that they, harassing people or getting in their face. I think what folks forget, there are people on the other ends of this. It is not just your interest in a property. Now, that obviously your fandom has to be there, because if your fandom's not there, the project doesn't do well. The project doesn't get to. So there is still a level that the property owners do owe to the fans, but there is a limit to this. These are still humans. They do not owe you shit truly at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but when people say the fans are owed, of course, yes, if there was no fans, there would be no reason to make these properties in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. Right. But that's as far as the being owed goes.
I agree. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, is that you don't, it is owed in the sense that you don't completely fuck a property, because if you're doing it, you're clearly trying to make money off of the fans. You owe the fans at least some, as far as making sure the property is done as well to your ability. But I don't need to, like, if Ben Affleck did his 3 movies, and he's like, 4 technically by the time The Flash is over, and he's like, I don't want to do any more Batman shit, he doesn't know another goddamn thing. He played it to the best of his ability, asked to do everything that he did, and he's out. And that's totally fine. So he's done justice by Bruce, and that's all that needs to be done, man. I think other than that, people just need to let sleeping dogs lie. And I'll be honest, based off the trailers, I'm actually pretty intrigued to see what Patterson has to bring to the table, man. So let's just move on with this new iteration and enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go see the Batman regardless. I just might, like I said, my frustration becomes fandoms that feel like they're that entitlement of fandoms, that these studios have to listen to us. And again, I tell everybody all day, every day, everybody's like, oh, well, Justice League made all this money. People forget Justice League was only, the Zack Snyder Justice League was only dropped to raise the subscription numbers on HBO Max. It was the only reason. They were like, oh, well, they wouldn't have given them $80 million. If you make an X amount of subscriptions happen, you will make that money back tenfold. And the way, quote unquote, people were crying and complaining on social media, they made it seem like there were going to be a barrage of new subscribers. They didn't hit that metric. So with them not hitting that metric, Warner Brothers and HBO Max was like, well, fuck it, we're done.
Yeah.
Because I'll let y'all in on a secret. Flashpoint is, like they said, Ezra Miller has told everybody, Flashpoint is resetting and erasing everything that the Snyderverse part is DCEU has happened. It's done. And I'm letting y'all know right now, what is about to happen is Wonder Woman's her own universe. Aquaman is his own universe. And Flash is his own universe. And that moment they had together was that moment they have together. Keaton is your Batman going forward. Y'all gonna have to accept it one way or another. If you're not gonna watch the movies, don't. But sitting there trying to harass, like I said, with movie companies, they're trying to promote projects on social media, and all you're putting under their posts that have nothing to do with this is restore the Snyderverse. It's a reason why they don't want to do it, because now they can't promote their product successfully. I've seen HBO Max get to the point now where they turn the comments off every time they post something. That is not a good thing. That is not a good fucking thing.
No, it's not. It's really, really not, honestly. But you know, that's the world we have pushed towards, unfortunately, because people think that it's okay. Like I do not have a problem with people coming together, being like, save whatever, bring this back. But the minute you get disrespectful, the minute you start stalking people, the minute you start making all that shit can go out the fucking window.
Yeah, that shit is dead, bro. It's like, again, I'm 100% with you. Social media is for that, your voice, right? Fine. But at the end of the day, you don't control the money a movie studio has. People keep saying, well, if we don't go see this movie, blah, 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 blah. Bruh, Spider-Man No Way Home cracked $1 billion and didn't even have to drop in China, right? When movies drop in China, regardless of how we feel about their changing for the censorships over there, whatever, blah, 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 they make money over there. You saying you not going to see it, don't stop no show.
Nope.
Motherfuckers killing me with that. I think that's the thing I'm trying to express. People got to understand when you be like, oh, we going to boycott Warner Brothers. What? Are you fucking serious? You don't realize people don't even know what they're boycotting when they say boycott Warner Brothers on Twitter. Like, you won't watch a lot of shit if you're boycotting Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I agree. You don't realize how much you're actually saying for that, but do you? Whatever.
Know. It is what it is. But listen, I think that's all we got for this week. Thank you to my bro, my co-host, my Blurs in the Hood friend, Mr. Winston A. Marsh, for joining me. Before I let you get out of here, and I'm hoping my internet picks back up and opens it up, I want to shout out all the members who have supported me over still on the Supervillain Squad on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J. Washington. For some reason, my computer wants to move slow and not open up this page with all of y'all names on it. Here we go. So shouts out to all the members of the squad who are still here. As always, I'll tell y'all, I appreciate y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. You all don't understand throughout these trying times how much your support has been for me. Alberto Rios, thank you for being a member and at the one-on-one level. Brock Severson, Chauncey Wilson, thank you and being at the one-on-one level. Shara Corman, love you to death. Chris Lee, thank you for being on the one-on-one. Christopher Conley, Dan Bemke, David Adams, Davlin, Edward Wilshire, Fanboy Cantina, Fillmore Pockets, Fred Castillo, Hillary Nellums, James Robbins, Jim Payne, thank you for being at the one-on-one level. Joe Lean, thank you for being at the one-on-one level. Justin Square, Kenneth Daisy, Kirsty Oliveria, Marcus Burton, Marlon, I see you back. Shouts out to AZ Badfish, I appreciate you. Patrick Harden, Quentin L. Milrow, Rudy Ueda, thank you for being at the one-on-one level. And Saul Govin, I thank you all for supporting. For though, when you hear me say the one-on-one level, what that is I do this thing called one-on-one with the supervillain. We sit down for about 30 or 45 minutes and talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. And in order to join that, you join up on my Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J. Washington. If you want to show some support, some love, at the lowest is $5 a month. I try to have positive conversations with members of the squad. We try to uplift each other. I try to do a check-in with guys. And when you join the squad, you automatically get access to my Discord, which we are currently trying to figure out how to make a joint Discord instead of making a whole brand new fucking Discord between the two of us. But again, I wanted to make sure I got that out. Mr. Winston A. Marshall, bro, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know how busy your schedule is normally, and I understand even though you're sick and shit, you work. Thank you for taking time out to come do this with me. It means a lot. Blase, all that good shit from my heart. Tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere that Swaggy Blurs are sold: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, man. Do me a favor, y'all. I've got a pretty big, it's not super huge, but a goal that I'm setting for myself for this year. I want to be at 10K across all platforms, man. Some of those are going to be harder than others. Like I'm around 7,000 on Instagram and I'm about 4,000 or 5,000 on like 4,400 on Twitter. But YouTube and TikTok, those are two newer platforms. YouTube I've had for forever, but I didn't push it quite as much as the other ones. So it would just mean the world to me. Obviously, come check out all the stuff I do on BLERDS in the Hood with Jay. Citizen from time to time over with the Schmodown, Skybound shit. But come and join me. If you haven't already, please come follow me on my shit. trying to like I would show you, Jay. I don't have it here, but my vision board. And it's just like I said, to get 10 on all those platforms. So it would mean the world to me.
Where did you get the pieces from? Did you just print out everything you wanted for your vision board?
Most of them were old magazines, but the ones that were missing, because you're not just going to see like a TikTok or a Twitter logo in a magazine, I just printed those off. But everything else, I just cut out of a magazine, old magazines and shit.
I need some magazines because I want to do a new vision board.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's a great way to kind of get focused on what you want to do in the coming year. So I'm pretty excited about it.
All right, and that's it for everything?
That's pretty much all I got going on right now. If you follow me on those platforms, you will see some of this content come out. You will see announcements of stuff because I got some stuff I'm working on, but nothing to announce at this particular moment.
All righty. As always for me, Twitter, Instagram, and Mr. J. Washington. Of course, those are out the gate. I echo his sentiments. Yo, I'm trying to finally get... Go ahead.
I thought of one other thing. I'm so sorry. Twitch.tv/theswaggyblerd. I am streaming on Twitch again. I'm doing Swag Day Fun Days, which is a Sunday where I play with my patrons, Jackbox and other party games, and then I do basic streaming, like, you know, playing the games I'm doing right now and having conversations about stuff. So come check that out. But same thing, if you follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff, I'll make announcements about what I'm playing.
Do that. Like I said, I echo his sentiments. I'm trying to get 10K on Instagram. Finally, I'm at 12 on Twitter, but you can keep following me. TikTok, I'm starting to use my TikTok now at Mr. J. Washington, and what I'm doing on that is I'm putting old clips of mine, old stand-up clips, so stuff that's still funny that I could probably bring back, but stuff that got a good laugh, and I realized how much heavier dude, I've been looking at these old clips, and I'm like, oh my God.
Has it been like good for your ego as far as like seeing how much work you've put in?
Yeah, it's definitely been a ego booster, because it's been like, shit, I thought I was doing one thing and I really wasn't. You know, I was always just lifting, and I thought just lifting weights, because I was always told lifting weights helps burn fat and build muscle, which is true. But you know, I wasn't adhering to the diet standards and all this other shit. And what are you looking at? You looking at one? I thought it was like, yeah, this nigga was thick.
No, it's not. I was trying to, but the first thing that popped up, you know how invested I am in this fucking Elmo versus Rocco feud. Naomi Osaka was recently on Sesame Street, and Elmo was like, thank you for teaching me so much, Naomi. Next time Elmo says we should play doubles, and Naomi goes, we could play against Zoe and Rocco. I'm like, yo, Naomi, don't do this.
Yo, I'm waiting on. Yo, this became the shit. Man, listen, we'll talk about it. Also, again, follow me on all the sites. For those who want to hit up the hotline, I just got the hotline back again. 818-276-6947. 818-276-6947. Please leave a clear message. You want to send a little love and whatnot. You can hear it. I will air it on the show. I'll answer your questions as well. If you want to email me, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. That's about it. I will be back next Monday. Again, we're dropping these Monday, y'all, so you can start off the week with your resident super villain and a different guest. Holla at y'all later. Take care. I'm out. Bye.